human body generates more bioelectricity than a 120-volt battery and over 25,000 BTUs of body heat. Combined with a form of fusion, the machines had found all the energy they would ever need. There are fields now, endless fields, where human beings are no longer born. We are grown. For the longest time, I wouldn't believe it. And then I saw the fields with my own eyes. Watched them liquefy the dead so they could be fed intravenously to the living. And standing there, facing the pure, horrifying precision, I came to realize the obviousness of the truth.
But, the traditions of all cultures have known this for thousands of years.
Yeah, but when the scientists finally get all the way caught up, aren't they, instead of using their machines, perhaps, will they attain, do you think, the ability to do what you're doing now with some kind of machine?
Yes. Yes, they will, but there will not be the spirituality. There will not be the balance and the foundation, and I'd be worried about it.
But what if that means that the spirituality aspect of it is unnecessary, that there are alternate realities, and you may be reaching it through one means, but that's not the only means, and you can reach it and accomplish things with the, quote, machine.
And again, without balance, you're going to have cynicism. People will be sinister. People will have the greed. They will manipulate.
I see.
Again, it's the foundation that you need in magic because the power is so great. When you were doing your experiments with the collective consciousness of your audience, you saw the power demonstrated.
It scared the hell out of me.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
If you do not know how to bind down the action not wanted, then you're going to get more than you bargained for. Because what you don't understand is you are opening up portals, and they go both ways.
I asked Dr. Mitchell...
Not only are you going in, honey, something coming out.
I hear you. I asked Dr. Kaku last night how much coincidence he believes in. Told him about the New York State Lottery, on 9/11, the anniversary thereof. New York State Lottery pops up 3 little balls, 911. What are the odds?
Infinite.
Is that more likely a demonstration of mass
consciousness?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Than it is coincidence? Yeah, I'd say so. I'd definitely say so. Of millions of minds affecting a machine designed to be random otherwise.
In the 70s, the early 70s, at Duke University Foundation for the Research on the Nature of Man, Dr. Helmut Schmidt was a pioneer in the random number generator and the random light generator. Parapsychology, the name, wasn't even formed. In fact, Dr. J.B. Rhine coined the phrase extrasensory perception. The changes that I was able to effect by using the traditions that I was taught, by calling down a cone of power, by tapping into the elements of earth, air, fire, and water, and using their forces, energies, and vibrations.
He said, you guys have got a great future ahead of you. Because we've been told, the high priest of our society, secret society, has been told that the master has very special plans for you too.
Now, what did he mean by the master?
Satan. And we were interested to hear more about it. And he told us, he says, look, we worship spirits. We worship Lucifer and all his angels. They're just as beautiful as they did before they were cast out of heaven. He says there was a misunderstanding in the whole thing, he says, among the inhabitants of the galaxies. And he says our master was misunderstood, and God did not bear with him like he does with people that make mistakes today. So we're in a warfare, good against evil. And we happen to be the evil ones, but we're not that bad. He says, I look at this business between the forces of good and evil, He says, you believe in one person believes in God, and everyone believes in Lucifer. It's like politics.
So the great controversy is real. And you've
yeah.
heard someone talk about it that's on the other side.
And to these people, they are sold to the fact that Christ will not return to this planet with power and great glory. He's going to abdicate all claims to the planet, because the high priest once said that Christ will abdicate all claim to the planet because he knows that it is lawfully and rightfully Satan's. And at that time, he says, Lucifer, you mentioned Lucifer a lot of times, but he mentions Satan also. He says, the master, usually they like to talk about the master will resurrect his people from the graves.
Now, George is telling you all this, or the high priest?
George.
Okay, when the evening wound down, and you're putting a cap on all that, you guys had consumed some alcohol.
Yeah.
And did you feel like that there was kind of a one-shot deal? You didn't know if it ever happened again? What happened after that?
He said, no. I said, listen, guys. He said, I like to have you, he says, meet some of our people. What about next week, Wednesday evening? I'll pick you up at your place, and you're invited to one of our services.
Services? Like a church service?
Yeah, something similar like that. It's a testimonial to the spirits, how the spirits have blessed your life. See? So, when we left there, I said to myself, this guy is half drunk. I'm not going to hear from him again, you know. But it was true. Wednesday night came, he was there with his big Lincoln, step in, and we went to one of the most beautiful area of Montreal. And the place was a mansion. Now, a mansion is usually very large. We'll call this a small mansion. It was beautiful. Most beautiful place. Yeah.
Roger, your friend George took you and Roland to this mansion where people worshipped the demons. What was it like there? What kind of people were there?
Well, it was a big surprise for me, as I kind of made up in my mind an idea that they were going to be rough-looking characters. But as we entered the place, I was amazed to see that they were all very well-dressed, well-mannered, and that a lot of the people, as we were being introduced to people, were professionals, doctors, attorneys, a lot of business people. And see what they had a praise session to the gods, which is the spirit counselors, which are in charge of legions of spirits, of demon spirits. And they talk about what the Lord of their lives has done for them, because they call on particular spirits, like the god Nehushtan, which you read in 2 King about. The Israelites worshipped the golden serpent that Moses had made. Well, behind the spirit worship, behind that, they were worshipping the serpent. They were actually worshipping this spirit Nehushtan. And the same spirit Nehushtan is, the priest was telling us, that the medical doctor that was telling us how he was making operations that had never been made before, because people had to be awake, yet have no feeling. He was able to, carry on the surgeries that had not been done before. But the spirits would give that capacity to be able to operate without people feeling any pain and things. And also without no problem with the blood, because as he would cut his incision, because incisions, everything open and with no blood running. So he could do the work that has not been done before. So.
Now, I recall reading in your book that at this praise worship service they had, they would sing hymns. Why would they sing hymns in a demon worship?
Yeah, this was kind of a big surprise to me when that took place. The priest said, hey, let's go down to the worship room of the gods and have a praise session, a singing session. So we go down there, and what did you think they pass around? Church hymnals, Christian church hymnals. And I couldn't believe this. I said, what's his business? So the priest says, well, now, he says, for those of you that are new let me tell you that this is the most feasible way, says, to please the spirits, is to deride Christ and his people, you know, and his church and all that. So they sing out of Christian hymnals.
They didn't sing Christian words to the hymns, however.
Well, they changed a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and not for the good.
It's a form of blasphemy. Yeah. Such as you see today in the rock music world. You see the entertainers, they have these crosses. Mm-hmm. Ladies got earrings, crosses. Mm-hmm. The guys got cross. This is a form of blasphemy, a form of deriding Christ. You see. Mm-hmm. Spirits cause the people to do that, to find pleasure in wearing this type of emblem, which is the cross is the emblem of the crucifixion of Christ to the Christians. Mm-hmm.
So what were your impressions the first time you went down into that worship room?
Well, it was, we'd been there maybe a half a dozen times, and the high priest told us after the meeting was over, he wanted to talk to us, my friend and I. So after the most people had left, he says, the master of my life has revealed to me that it is time for you people to become acquainted with the worship room of the gods. Well, we started to move toward a beautiful grand staircase. Beautiful. The banister was huge. It was massive. And the wrought iron work that they had done in it was super. The beautiful decorations on the walls. The chandelier on the first landing. See, that was the first landing. You go down about 8 or 10 steps, and you had the first landing. It was huge and beautiful. The light arrangement was the nicest I had ever seen in my life. When we got into this sanctuary area, it wasn't very brightly lit, but everything was, well, magnified the beauty of certain things. You know, like a lot of the things were gold-plated or gold trims. See, the little altars where they had the spirits that had materialized, they photographed them, and then they had paintings made of them. And there was probably about maybe 100 of those around the place.
Sort of like a shrine?
Yeah, and underneath there was a little altar where you have incense and things that they would use in their prayer sessions and things like that, devotions to certain spirits. And some of the objects in there, the priest said, were solid gold. It was a unique experience to see that.
So how did you feel when you walked into that room?
I felt that these people had power, and they had a lot of it.
Did that attract you?
Yes and no.
You had mixed feelings about it?
I had mixed feelings about it, yeah. Because to a certain extent, things looked so good and sounded so good to us. But you see, I'd been brought up in a Christian home where my parents had told us we were 8 children in the family, and especially the older ones, you know. My dad says, well, you know, if you get involved in wrongdoing, you're going to have to pay the price. There's always a cost for everything in this world. So this thought kept creeping to my mind. Just how far you go with these spirits before we start paying the price. See?
So it made you just a little bit nervous.
Oh, yes.
But yet you kept going back.
Oh, there was no way out. Because that's what we're told.
You knew at that time.
Yeah.
So you were moving forward more on fear.
More on fear, yes. Because the high priest said that the master had special plans for us in our lives. And that no one ever went into this society unless they were invited by the spirits.